If you're watching this video right now, there's a really good chance that you've probably watched one or a dozen of the other how to get your first 1,000 YouTube subscribers videos. And you might be wondering, is there anything else I need to know? There's like a bajillion videos on this topic on YouTube, but you know what's missing from all of them? Well, it's a phenomenon called the spider web effect, and it might blow your mind. At least that's what my members of the Video Pursuit Society have told me when I've shared it with them. Now, the beauty of the spider web effect is that it's both a strategy and a tool, especially if you're a visual person. And hey, if you're doing YouTube as a side hustle, you don't have time to create videos that don't attract subscribers. So first I'm going to show you why the spider web effect is so effective, and then we'll get into how to put it into action on your channel. Plus, I'm going to share with you some kind of hurdles and roadblocks that you might encounter using the spider web effect. So let's dive in. If you're new here, my name is Meredith Marsh, and here on this channel, I'm all about helping your side hustle thrive with video. So make sure you hit that subscribe button now so you can become the boss of your own future. So here's the thing, the spider web effect is the fastest way to reach your first 1,000 YouTube subscribers. And this concept is what I used when I started my channel back in 2015 to gain my first 1,000 YouTube subscribers in about 9 months, and then 2,000 in total by the end of that first year. And that spider web on YouTube creates this environment where you're attracting viewers that are interested in the rest of your content rather than creating content that kind of bounces around all over the place. Plus, for new viewers who land on your channel, it'll be instantly clear what your channel is really about and the value that you bring, so that it'll be a no-brainer for them to actually hit that subscribe button. And when YouTube is looking for what videos to recommend to the viewer who's watching your channel, they're going to look at your library first. So having a tightly woven library is good for the algorithm too. But usually with a brand new channel, you start with a list of videos. So let me show you how to turn it into a spider web. So there are 3 main elements to this spider web. The first element is that it has to be tightly woven. So if you think about an actual spider web, why do they exist? Well, a spider weaves a spider web so that as bugs fly through, they get caught in the web, spider catches its dinner. So the tighter that web is, the more likelihood that that spider is going to actually catch things that are flying through. If there are holes in that spider web, then the bugs could just escape and the spider would go hungry. The second element of this spider web effect is that you focus on one section of the spider web at a time, and you make sure there are no holes in that section of the spider web. And the third element of this spider web that we're creating is that your videos are bingeable. There's some type of a series. Your viewers are compelled to watch the next one and then the next one, and so on and so forth. Now, in my very last video, I mentioned that the way to get viewers on your first 5 videos is through SEO, and the same applies to this. You want to make sure when you have less than 1,000 YouTube subscribers that you are hitting up those search results with your videos. So let's say if you have a YouTube channel, you want it to be about sewing, right? Sewing is a pretty broad niche, but if that's your passion, go for it. But there's all different types of sewing, right? Maybe you want to do a whole series on how to sew scrunchies, and then maybe you want to do a few lessons on how to sew pajama pants, and then of course maybe face masks, that would be a good one to do, and then how to sew curtains, how to sew hats, how to sew costumes. It's all sewing, it's all under one niche, but those are very different sections of the spider web. And what often happens is people will create a video about how to sew scrunchies for beginners, and that's sewing, that's within the sewing niche. And then they'll do how to hem your curtains. And the problem with that is when viewers find your video on how to sew scrunchies for beginners, they're not interested in sewing curtains. And so not only do you risk losing that subscriber, but you also are missing out on the opportunity to create a couple more videos specifically about scrunchies. And that would be a section of the spider web. So you would have a whole section on just sewing scrunchies, the elastic you should use, the best fabric for making scrunchies, how to make 100 scrunchies in an hour, how to make scrunchies for beginners, how to make small scrunchies, how to make scrunchies for babies, and then you would move on to another section of your spider web, something that is related to scrunchies or hair accessories in some way. You wouldn't just jump straight to curtains. So now instead of having a list of videos, you have this web, this map of how your videos are actually connected and how one leads to the other, leads to the other. And that is why it's the fastest way to gain your first 1,000 YouTube subscribers. So some of the caveats or hurdles or roadblocks to look out for here is that if you start implementing the spiderweb effect on your channel and then you get burned out or you give up and you just simply stop creating videos, it's not gonna work. You have to keep producing content, publishing every week, some type of regular schedule. If you can't do every week, you have to keep building that library and that web of content within each of your sections. The second thing is something I run into a lot with my students inside of the Video Pursuit Society, and that is I have so many ideas, there's so many niches, there's so many directions I could go. How do I know where to start? Here's what I would suggest. This is something my business mentor taught me. Make a list of all of the niches and ideas that you would love to dive into right now. And then look at that list and ask yourself, if I knew that I would be successful in this niche, if I knew that I would gain 1 million subscribers by the end of the year in any of these niches, which one would you choose if you knew that it was going to be successful? And start with that. Now, a moment ago, you heard me mention that the third element of the spiderweb effect is that you're creating a series of 5 videos on topics that A, people are searching for, and B, that are bingeable, so they want to watch all of them. So how do you actually know what people are searching for? How do you create those first 5 videos and choose those topics? Well, I have a workbook for that. It's called the Fast Way to 1K YouTube Subscribers Workbook. I'll link to it down in the description. It's totally free. You'll also find it over here on my end card. And if you're wondering how to get views on your first 5 videos, then hit up this next video here.